Federal health officials are still looking for the source of that cyclosporiasis outbreak. The FDA admits the cyclospora test of some Taylor Farms lettuce was a false positive. And Taylor Farms says the FDA has apologized to them for those results.
It's a big uh-oh right there. And as our Kelly Vaughn reports, a lot of us are now left confused about what is safe to eat.
This announcement about finding the source, that has definitely confused me a bit because I thought I was safe. And clearly I'm not.
We're trying to be healthy, and we're trying to eat right, we're trying to do all the right things, but the messaging is confusing, and so we're not quite sure where to go.
And I'm afraid with all the funding cuts that we've had that we don't really have reliable sources anymore, so it makes it really scary.
The FDA says they are still testing for Cyclospora, but at this point haven't found any.
The problem here is that we lost our surveillance system.
Jill Roberts is a microbiologist that tracks outbreaks like cyclosporiasis. She says last summer the CDC scaled back the Foodborne Disease Active Surveillance Network, or FoodNet. It went from the mandatory tracking of 8 pathogens to just 2. One of those cuts was to Cyclospora.
No one's testing the food because it doesn't make any money. No diagnostic lab or clinical has any interest in that. But FoodNet did.
She says what would have happened, hypothetically, if FoodNet was still tracking Cyclospora is back in May when Michigan got their first case, they would have reported it to FoodNet. Then when New York and North Carolina got their cases, that would have triggered an alert and an investigation by FoodNet that could have stopped the spread before it reached more than 30 states. She says instead now we had to wait until hundreds of people were reporting symptoms.
This is public health 50 years ago. It's reactive. We put proactive in place so we didn't get here. This was predictable.
Now, cyclospora, it's just one of those 6 foodborne pathogens that don't have mandatory tracking anymore. So Robert, she told me she's concerned about those other pathogens as well. That includes Listeria and Vibrio. Those can also lead to severe illness.
All right, so Kelly, we know that right now the CDC is investigating more than 5,000 cases of cyclosporiasis. So what can people do to stay safe as they continue to look for the source of this outbreak?
Right now, there's been a lot of back and forth, but the FDA says despite that false positive test, their investigation is still leading them to that shredded lettuce from Taylor Farms location in central Mexico. So there's still a voluntary recall of that lettuce, and they're asking that you still abide by that. Now, to avoid it even more, they say wash your produce. There's been a lot of discussion about does washing your produce stop cyclospora? The scientist I've spoken with says, yeah, it only removes about 80% of it, but that's still a pretty good number. And they mentioned that some of those other dangerous pathogens, those can be easily washed away. So they just want to encourage you to thoroughly wash your produce as we get through this.
Only 80%. That's still,
You need
still
a
a lot.
brush, a prayer.
Everything.
All right, Kelly, thank you.